Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. The way Joss's survival fight is heading into a real make-or-break week has had me glued to the screen and holding my breath right along with her. Ever since they tossed her into that prison-style apartment at Windermere, that girl has been doing everything she can to claw her way out. She came so close last time, only for Sidwell to snatch her back and throw her in again. Even knowing she's a WSB agent, he doesn't see a lick of value in keeping her around. Carly and Valentine have finally figured out somebody took her, but time is slipping away fast. Come Monday, June 8, it sure looks like her days could be numbered if nobody gets to her soon. What really sticks with me is that little detail from her last escape attempt. She dropped her ring in the living room and managed to kick it under the sofa before they dragged her back. Somebody's bound to spot it sooner or later, and I can't help wondering if it'll be Lucas still living there when he probably ought to have moved on by now. That ring could be the clue that changes everything, the one thing that finally points the right people in the right direction. It's the kind of small mistake that just might turn into the biggest break she needs. Now, here's a development that actually gives this old heart a little lift. They're bringing Liesl into that same apartment as Joss's new roommate. Sidwell and Cullum want her to finish up the last of Faison's project that her daughter had been working on. But I say two sharp minds in one tight spot are better than one. Liesl's no fool, and Joss has already proven she's got plenty of fight and brains of her own. If anybody can turn a bad situation into an escape plan while the others are distracted, it might just be those two. Sometimes the most unlikely partnerships end up being the ones that save the day. While all that's unfolding for Joss, her best friend Trina is wading through her own storm back home. The Ashford and Robinson family is tangled up in doubts, hard feelings, misunderstandings, and now a full-blown legal battle. It's the kind of mess that wears a person down to the bone. Kai's worried sick about her, and I don't blame him one bit. Trina's so caught up in her parents fighting that she's barely giving a thought to the performance Brooke Lynn wants to organize for her. That girl ought to be focusing on something good and hopeful for once, but family trouble has a way of crowding out everything else. It reminds you how heavy those burdens can feel when the people you love are at odds. On top of it all, other threads are pulling people in different directions. Christina's making some kind of request that's got folks paying attention. Curtis is heading over to Alexis looking for help. And wouldn't you know it, Laura finally has a chance to enjoy a rare little victory of her own. After everything that woman has carried, seeing her get even a moment to celebrate feels like a small bright spot in the middle of so much trouble. It's funny how life works. While some alliances are forming in the most unexpected places and legal headaches keep piling up, every now and then somebody gets a reason to smile. I'll be tuning in to see how it all plays out because these stories have a way of reminding you that even in the darkest stretches, a little hope and a little help can still find their way through. The way Joss's survival fight is heading into a real make-or-break time next week has had me holding my breath every single time I sit down to watch. That poor girl has already been through more than any young person ought to bear. Ever since they threw her into that prison-style apartment over at Windermere, she's been fighting tooth and nail to get free. She came so close last time, only for Sidwell to catch her and drag her right back in. Even though he knows she's a WSB agent, he doesn't see any use for her at all. Carly and Valentine have finally put the pieces together and know somebody took her. But time is running out fast. After that last failed escape, she managed to drop her ring in the living room and kick it under the sofa before they grabbed her. I keep thinking that little ring might just turn out to be the clue somebody needs. If Lucas spots it and he's still living there when he probably shouldn't be anymore, it could point the right people in the right direction before it's too late. What really sticks with me is how small things can end up mattering the most in situations like this. 1 minute, Joss is running for her life. The next, she's back in that awful place with her time slipping away. It's enough to make an old heartache watching it all unfold. She's smart and tough, but even the strongest folks can only hold out so long when the odds keep stacking against them. I find myself hoping that ring doesn't stay hidden for good, because sometimes the tiniest detail is what turns everything around. Here's a twist that actually lifted my spirits a little when I heard about it. They're bringing Liesl into the same apartment as Joss's new roommate. Sidwell and Cullum want her to finish up the last of Faison's old project that her daughter had been working on. But two brilliant women locked up together in the same tight spot, that could turn into the kind of unexpected alliance nobody saw coming. While the men are busy with their own plans, maybe Joss and Liesl can put their heads together and figure a way out. Sometimes help shows up from the last place you'd expect, and I can't help but think two sharp minds working as one might just outsmart the whole bunch. It gives a body a little hope that even in the darkest corners, a spark of teamwork can still shine through. While Joss is fighting for her very life, her best friend Trina is wading through a storm of her own back home. The Ashford and Robinson family is tangled up something fierce in doubts, hard feelings, misunderstandings, and now a full-blown legal battle. It's the kind of mess that wears everybody down. Kai's worried sick about her, and who can blame him? That young fella cares deeply, and it shows. Trina's so caught up in her parents arguing and all the legal headaches that she's barely giving a thought to the performance Brooke Lynn wants to organize for her. I keep wishing she could step back for just a minute and focus on something good and hopeful instead of letting the family trouble crowd out everything else. It reminds you how heavy those burdens feel when the people you love are at odds with one another. It does my heart good to hear that Lucas was able to steal the evidence Sidwell was holding against Laura and Sonny. They didn't just hide it, they burned the whole thing to ashes. For the first time in months, Laura finally has a real reason to celebrate. She's been carrying so much on her shoulders for so long, and this victory feels well-earned. I wonder if she'll mark the moment with Sonny, or maybe with some close friends, or perhaps just take a quiet breath on her own to let it all sink in. And I keep wondering whether she'll tell Ezra about it or keep it to herself for now. Trust takes time, especially after everything that's happened between them. Laura deserves this little win, and I hope folks will let her enjoy it without piling on more trouble right away. She's earned the right to savor a moment of peace. Watching all these stories unfold at once makes you think about how life keeps testing people in different ways. Joss is running out of time, while unexpected alliances are forming in the shadows. Legal troubles keep piling up for Curtis and for Trina's family, yet every now and then a small victory like Laura's breaks through and reminds you that not every battle ends in defeat. It's the kind of mix that keeps you coming back, hoping the good somehow outweighs the hard parts. I'll be right here tuning in next week to see how it all plays out, because these folks feel like old friends by now, and you can't help but care what happens to them. Christina's got a surprise that could shake up the whole family. She secretly took the MCAT, applied to UCLA Medical School, and got accepted without telling anybody until now. She's already shared it with Molly and Michael, but on Monday she's making a request, and I keep wondering who it's aimed at and when she'll finally sit down with her mother to say she's about to change her life forever. While we're all holding our breath over Joss's survival fight, the unexpected alliances forming, Curtis's legal troubles, and Laura's hard-won moment of peace, Christina's news reminds me that these young folks are out there chasing big dreams, even when everything else feels tangled. I'll be watching closely Monday to see how her request lands and when that talk with her mama finally happens. Sometimes one person's fresh start is exactly what the whole family needs to find a little hope again.